What's happening, people? Welcome to the All Guns Blazing podcast with myself, Jordan Jarrett Bryan, standing in for the main man, Robbie Lyles, away this week, back in time for the game on the weekend. And I've got here the regular Arsenal fan, of course, DT. What are you saying, DT?
I'm all right.
You well?
Good. Yeah, I'm all right. It feels weird doing a podcast without Robbie. And like the intro,
it feels weird being Robbie.
Everything's different. I'm used to, hi, and welcome to All Guns. It's like...
I'm a bit more kind of...
Yeah,
measured.
you're more chilled. Maybe we might have to replace Robbie. He's going to be sitting there on one of his little islands somewhere, enjoying himself and looking at this and thinking,
Nah.
Right
Robbie's the man. Robbie's still the man.
Don Robbie.
I'm here just temporarily. And we've also got a new guest as well. Another newcomer here, Michael Bridge from Sky Sports. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think, but yeah.
We should mention from the get-go that you are a Spurs fan.
I am a Spurs fan.
So just get that out there on the table early.
Yes.
Good.
Cue the abuse coming through.
Yeah. Bring it on.
The comments,
bring it all on.
Comment section's going
wild.
Oh my God,
yeah.
It's popping off. So before we get into this week's podcast, we've got another video from 888 Sport. Go check it out.
I'm Lucas, I'm a massive Aston Villa fan, and this is my unpopular opinion. The Championship is better than the Premier League. I'm a Villa fan, I grew up being in the Premier League, and when we got relegated I was absolutely gutted. I thought we're going to this tin pot league, we're going to walk it, we're going to go straight back up. The first season down there we were awful, and it actually turned out to be the best league. There's more games, there's more on the line, there's more fighting, slugging it out. Who would want to sit at the Emirates Stadium in silence? You can't sing because the stewards will kick you out the stadium. You've got to eat prawn sandwiches. Let's go Loftus Road, let's go to Ellen Road. The atmosphere's electric. It's where football should be. It's where the Premier League should be. Liverpool are going to be up there in the top of the league. Man City probably going to win it again. Why not just buy all of your success? It's boring. Let's get in the Championship. That is where the entertainment is at. And that is most definitely my unpopular opinion.
So guys, what's your reaction to 888 Sports video this week of their unpopular opinion?
Does the Aston Villa fans still believe that now, does it?
That's an interesting... I wonder if he filmed that before they got promoted, and I wonder if he's not going to go to the Emirates when Aston Villa play us this year and that. The Premier League is where the excitement's at. Mm-hmm. You know, the Championship's where the excitement's at for the clubs that are not good enough to be in the Premier League.
That's the difference between the quality. The quality is in the Premier League, and that for me generates the interest and the excitement.
I see what you're saying. Like, the top can beat bottom, bottom can beat top in the Championship. There's no doubt about that. It's a very tough league. It's hard to call. There's some really big teams down there, and you know the English pyramid is the best in the world. You know, so many wonderful teams in lower divisions as well. It's a great league, but the Premier League is the league.
Right, so obviously here for the North London derby this weekend at the Emirates. But before we get to that tasty, exciting, and I think must win for both teams game, let's go back to the weekend just gone. Mm-hmm. We had another big game, DT. We being Arsenal, I'm an Arsenal fan, just full disclosure there. At Anfield, 3-1 defeat. What was your overview of the game? What did you make of the defeat?
I came out of the ground and I wasn't as angry as I usually am when I leave Liverpool. Mm-hmm. I wanted to try and give a balanced, opinion of what I felt happened at the day. I didn't want to go in on certain players who I didn't feel performed at certain moments in the game. I feel that there were a lot of fans that kind of overreacted to the performance. I feel that before the game, we know Liverpool, they have different objectives to us. They're challenging for the title. Mm-hmm. It's between them and Man City. Mm-hmm. Our objective this season is Champions League football, get back into it. What I wanted was the team to stand up and show me that there was something different about them. Mm-hmm. And at 3-0 down, we're looking and we're going, here we go again. Mm-hmm. But we never fell apart. Mm-hmm. We stood up, we kept going, and the fans stuck by the players all the way through to the end. Nobody was leaving. And there felt a different kind of vibe within, the crowd and the fans and everything else. Just the way that everything kind of panned out, it just felt different. And I saw so many signs within that game that we've got so much to look forward to. I look at the game itself. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Tactics, you could say that Emery set up wrong. But if Pepe scores his chance or Aubameyang scores his chance, we go 1-2-0 up. It's a completely different game. And then you're looking at Emery as being a tactical magician. What a great game plan. And to be honest, although he gave Robertson and Alexander-Arnold so much room to play, he was basically saying, you're not playing through the middle of us, put the crosses in, try and break us down. And he couldn't break us down. And it took, a corner. That kind of moment there is where I look at it and I say, maybe we need to be a bit more physical in the box, rough them up a little bit as well. And then a stupid error at the start of the second half and the game's over at 2-0.
Does it slightly annoy you that we're at the point as Arsenal fans whereby a 3-1 defeat is seen as a small victory? Because it's not 5-1, we're mildly happy.
You know what it is? I'm not celebrating a defeat, I'm celebrating progress. And when you've been through and seen the kind of things that we have over the last 3-4 years or so, and, fighting in the crowd, players look like they don't want to play for the club, you will see it as a kind of small victory because you're seeing progression. There are some fans that are overreacting, in my opinion, and, they want Emery out already and all this kind of madness. And I have seen that. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, look, calm down. It's the third game of the season. It'd be very easy for me to have come out the ground and just be going absolutely mad because we've just lost. But I took a step back and I was like, let me just look at this objectively and let me look at the performance overall. And football is all about fine margins. And like I said, one of those two chances go in, and they weren't half chances, they were clear. They were the best chances of the half. They were clear, proper chances. And they go in, we go in at half-time 1-0, 2-0. We're sitting there going, wow, Emery is a tactical magician. When have we come to Anfield and played like this? And like I said, at 3-0, we didn't fold. We kept going. Scored a goal, made it 3-1. Could have had a penalty just after. Could have made it a little bit nervy 5 minutes. We were beaten by the better side on the day.
I would say, let me bring you in, Michael. I think that was something that I took away from it. It was in commentary, Gary Neville made the point that unlike other games Arsenal have played at big teams away from home, the mentality was good. The tactics for a large part of the game were good. We were just beaten by a better 11. They just got better players. No matter how good your mentality is, if you're playing against better players, you're going to struggle. What did you make of the game and how Emery, tactically set up Arsenal to get a result?
I actually said, sitting next to the person after watching it, I said the Arsenal goal was actually quite a big goal. The game was over, but it didn't go to 4-0, didn't go to 5-0, 3-1. Okay, fine. At the end of the day, Manchester City or Liverpool will win the league. That's it. Simple as. Everyone else is chasing the third and the fourth spot. So that's why I thought it was quite a big goal. I was a little bit surprised not to see Lacazette start. I just looking at getting the consistent of Aubameyang, Pepe and Lacazette all sort of playing together. The positive I thought with Arsenal as well, that Pepe, for that wonderful piece of skill he did. And then, was it one-on-one? But it was a bit of a tame effort at the goalkeeper. But to do that already, it looks like he's settling in early doors as well. Ceballos had a bit of a quiet game.
Well, on that thing that a lot of Arsenal fans were saying they wanted to see Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe and Ceballos. I'm not sure you can play those four in the same 11, especially away at Anfield. No. So I understood why he left one out. I wouldn't have left Lacazette out, but I understood why he didn't put all four in the starting 11. Especially at Anfield. Did you understand why he didn't go all out with those four?
Absolutely. I mean, the difference is, like DT said a couple of years ago, everyone agreed, obviously, Arsenal was probably there for too long. But and then you're at Anfield in August, and what was it, 4-0 a couple of years ago? And you're thinking, oh, God, not
by
again.
half-time.
Yeah. But this time, there was a bit of encouragement, a bit more fight. And there are times where you just have to say, like the Salah goal, the third goal, goodness me, what a player. You just have to say it sometimes. Brilliant goal. But like David Luiz will be disappointed. We'll see how that transfer goes. Because I still think, I was still surprised that Chelsea sold him so easily. Because Chelsea say, we've got loads of defenders. Yes, but are they elite? There's so many young defenders. The pressure these kids are going to have when Europe kicks in, the winter kikes in. That's when we'll see how good these teams are.
Indeed. We're going to come to your result in just a moment, but just finally, we're not forgotten about you guys. But just finally on the defeat to Liverpool. Do you feel like Emery is learning how to play and set up Arsenal in these big games in particular?
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for pre-match. Does he know how to get a result at an Etihad, at an Anfield, do you know what I mean? At an Old Trafford?
I think he's learning. The way he set up surprised Liverpool. I watched the interview with Trent Alexander-Arnold after the game, and he said that they were actually expecting Arsenal to set up completely differently, and it kind of caught them by surprise. So it just shows that he has got versatility within his, starting 11 and the way he wants to do things. My only issue is I feel that at half-time or just after, he should have changed it. When we went 1-0 down, it was kind of like, right, game plan's out of the window now. We need to go
What else have you got?
and do something a bit different. And then because the second goal came so early, I think in Emery's mind, he was probably thinking, you know what, get to 60 minutes, still 1-0, then I'm going to change it around. What he probably wasn't thinking, or no, he wasn't thinking, was for David Luiz to do something stupid. And within 5 minutes of the second half, it's 2-0, game over, game plan's out the window. So, he would have probably said to the players at half time, let's keep it tight. Let's keep it simple. Let's get to 60 minutes. All right, let's do it in blocks. First 15 minutes. Let's just keep ourselves in the game, and then we'll look to change to pose more of a threat on them. And he would have said to them, don't do anything stupid. And within 5 minutes, one of the most experienced players in the team has done something stupid. And that's not the manager's fault.
So speaking of something stupid, let's touch on your result just briefly on the weekend, Michael. Tottenham 0, Newcastle 1. Funnily enough, I made money on this. I called this. I did. I predicted this. First of all, what went wrong? And are there bigger problems at Tottenham than just the 90 minutes at losing at home to Newcastle?
There's issues there. There's definite issues there. Even the tone in the manager's press conferences, they're all changing. He's a really nice bloke. I mean, Emery's a nice bloke. Every time, good afternoon, good evening. I love it.
I love that.
You can't not dislike the guy.
He's got manners. He's got to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I know DT's an ardent Arsenal supporter, but Pochettino's not a tosser. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's always worth talking to, listening to, but he's a bit nippy. I mean, he gets a bit aggro at the moment with questions on Eriksen, which are, look, there is contract issues there, but he's either going to start or don't put him in the squad. You cannot have him on the bench. Totally. He makes the team tick. That's the worry if he leaves. This European deadline window is still open. And this is why Klopp and Poch are so critical of England for closing then, and the whole of Europe still open. When I saw the team selection, I started to worry. It was Aston Villa all over again. Eriksen was a big catalyst in saving Tottenham that day. They were 1-0 down to the 70th minute and then winning 3-1. Slightly fortuitous in the end, given, the scoreline. But, yeah, a real disappointing result. Awful defending. The lineup was baffled me, baffled nearly everyone. It's just the worst time coming into a derby. I know form goes out the window in this game, but I am worried. And it's not as if Spurs have 10 players out injured. It's nearly a full-strength side. And I'm going into this game with zero confidence. It's unbelievable. It's a real poor defeat. It's not Benitez's Newcastle.
It's Steve Bruce Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, and they are so flat right now as a football club. And they've come and won. Do you know what? It wasn't a hell of a lot of pressure second half either. Could have had a penalty potentially off the VAR, but they didn't. But that would have potentially papered over the cracks. I can't sit here, be all high and mighty, because I don't feel like it at the moment. So I'm disappointed.
So let me ask you, going into this weekend's game, let's get to the North London derby. A bit of a cliche here, but has this game come at the right time or the worst time for Tottenham?
Because I think there are underlying issues with certain individuals, like Eriksen, like Vertonghen. Again, top defender on the bench. That's where I think it's coming at a bad time. Personally, I'm always used to, when the fixture list comes out, what do I always do? First game of season, Boxing Day, when have we got Arsenal? Every single time, every year. And for me, it's always, you've got Arsenal, October, November, and then February, March. But August, I'm never ready for August. You're never ready. The last August I remember when Ian Wright scored in the last minute in 1993, and I still haven't got over it. But
that was when he ran down the line.
I don't think it's come at a good time. But saying that, 6:30 Sunday, it might have come at a good time. Sometimes you just don't know. I don't know how training's gone this week. But I'm feeling from Arsenal supporters it's coming at a good time for you, because even that Aubameyang goal, you're not going home Anfield like, we've been demolished again. I get the impression Arsenal want this game more than Spurs right now.
So let me ask the same question to you, DT. From an Arsenal perspective, are you looking at Tottenham and thinking, they're vulnerable, they're on the ropes, we're going to absolutely rinse them? Or are you thinking, you know what, they're doing so poorly, they can't really do much worse than lose at home to Newcastle. No. There's going to be a blowback.
Whenever we play Spurs at the Emirates, I always think, yeah, come on, let's do it. Because I'm not worried about them in any way, shape or form. It does. We've been at the Emirates about 15 seasons now, and they've only beaten us once in the Premier League at the Emirates. Our last 8 games at the Emirates, 5 victories to Arsenal, 3 draws. And we've always been scoring quite a few goals in that as well. There's a couple of 5-2s, there's a 4-2 from last season. So we predominantly score a lot of goals. And what I want to see in this game is Emery to just unleash players in that game. I want to see him unleash the front 3.
So give me your 11. What's your starting 11?
It's debatable as to what we're going to do at the back. I'm still holding out at the moment because I don't know whether Nacho Monreal is going to be an Arsenal player come the weekend. So that kind of leaves it up in arms. The issue I have is that Kolasinac is a brilliant wing back, but not a left back. And Monreal's a good left back, but not a good wing back. Yeah. So it's kind of like, do we just kind of go through with Kolasinac for a few weeks till Tierney's back and available? I'm hearing that after the international break, he steps up and starts his training properly, and so does Hector Bellerin. And them two are crucial to the way that we want to play and the system. And you could see that if those two were playing at Anfield, I would have been really happy. But
is that a good first game to throw Kolasinac back into?
You know what? He's that kind of player where it doesn't matter, he'll just fight. We only have seen the recent videos of him. Do you know what I mean? Literally, we don't need to say no more. It probably is the perfect game for him, but I feel that the midfield area is crucial. I'm very interested to see what Spurs do. Like Michael was saying, they've got massive problems off the pitch, and you can just see it. I watched the interviews with Pochettino, and he's getting so irate now. He's like Wenger was towards the end of his time at Arsenal, where standard questions would be asked and he starts to snap. He starts to get frustrated, and we're at the start of the season. You know, it's new season, fresh hope, fresh ideas, but it already feels like he's gone through 38 games and he just wants it to end. And I look at that from an Arsenal perspective and I think it's hilarious. I'm loving every minute of it, and I'm still adamant. I think that before the end of this season, Pochettino is going to be a Man United manager.
Before the end of the season? Before
the end of the season. I think Solskjaer is going to get out the door. I really do. You only have to... I know we're going off track, kind of, but I look at the way that Manchester United are playing, you look at their result against Crystal Palace, and they're going to have to deal with that throughout the course of this season. You know, they've just got rid of Lukaku, Alexis, and they've not backed it up with any replacements.
I don't get that. Europa League coming up, you know more than anyone. That is a slog, that competition. You play Thursday, Sunday, Champions League.
A slight dig there. It was a slight dig there. You know more than anyone. As if that we're entrenched in Europe.
We were in it too.
It's been 2 years.
We were in it too. We were in it too. No, all I'm saying, little dig. No, all I'm saying is, when Champions League, you can have a Tuesday game and a Sunday game. People always used to say, it makes no difference. It does make a difference. It does. It's a slog.
It's horrible.
It can be tough because you're always playing Thursday, Sunday, and you could be arse end of nowhere in Europe, and then all of a sudden you've got a midday game on the Sunday. It's tough. And fair play to Emery. He got it right in Spain, and he nearly got it right for you last year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm looking at it. Me personally, I want us to go for the throat from the first minute because I think that Tottenham are there for the taking. I don't want us to sit back. We're at the Emirates. I think that we talk about team selection, and the only part of the team selection that I'm adamant on is Lacazette, Pepe and Aubameyang. I want them 3 starting. I think that Pepe will absolutely annihilate Danny Rose. I don't rate him anyway.
I
don't rate Danny Rose at all. I think the guy's more worried about searching Google for players that you're trying to sign and stuff like that. But
you know what? I wouldn't start Pepe, you know. I'd start Lacazette, Aubameyang and Ceballos, and I would have Pepe come off the bench.
No, I would
have some fire.
I would
just go for it from the get-go.
I would go for it from minute 1. I would do what... You remember when we was the Invincibles? We used to bury teams by half-time so that we didn't need ammunition on the bench to bring on because the game was done. We could rest all our big players.
In that team, we had a defence that could keep clean
sheets. I know that. I know
that.
You know
what I mean?
That's good. Like you were saying, that is a big plus that we did have back then. But I just feel the best form of defence is attack at home. And I feel that Spurs are there for the taking. If Vertonghen comes into the side, for example, then I feel that he's only being brought in for this game not because, you know what I mean? There's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem there. So they haven't got. But then I can't see Pochettino randomly going, you know what, you're going to go ahead of Davinson Sanchez, for example, because he's obviously started with him, and I feel that he'll probably play Sanchez because he needs the pace.
Yeah.
Whereas Vertonghen hasn't got the pace, because our front three, they're insane. And you know, you're talking about Danny Rose. That game against Liverpool was the first time I've ever seen Robertson take 5 yards from a player and get roasted. In that first half, Pepe was absolutely annihilating him. And Robertson, for me, is the best left back in the Premier League. But yet he was having a horrible time.
I would have liked Pepe to have been a bit more angry with it. He was a little bit. It was his first game as Anfield, granted, but he was a little bit nice. He was a little bit. He would kind of do it and not really commit to it. I want to see him really commit to it and rinse the left back, whoever it's going to be on the weekend. I want to see him be angry and aggressive with it and say, you know what, when I get that ball, I'm beating you every time.
I think you could bring Ben Davies in. I do.
You do?
I do, honestly. It
deal with Pepe.
Well, it wasn't Rose's best game last Sunday. I think he will make changes, and Davies had an operation in the summer, and he's a better defender than Rose. Rose is good at bombing down the wing, but Davies gives you a little bit more solidarity at the back. I just think maybe that might be an option there.
Well, let's go to the key. Where do you see the key battle? Is it going to be down the wings? Is it going to be in the middle? Is it going to be Kane versus our back four or back three? Is it going to be Aubameyang versus... Where is this game won and lost?
Well, Tottenham being so narrow recently has been a real mess. It's just not worked at all. It's been a tough few weeks for Kyle Walker-Peters. I personally think Spurs should have replaced Trippier. You know, I didn't know whether there was a Kyle Trippier-Peters in the academy. But, you know, I mean, there's problems there at right back. I'd like to see a bit more experience at that right back, but I'm told that Serge Aurier, they said he can look for another club. Again, the mess of the European window, you've got players looking for other clubs, and I'm telling them to come in for a Sunday. So that, when, you know, even people want Moussa Sissoko there or Dyer, but Sissoko would bomb down that wing, but he could also give a penalty away. I'd be nervous.
How do you get a result from this game? How do you get...
I think attack the attack. I really do. I genuinely both sides are very vulnerable at the back, but both sides on their day are really good going forward. If Son starts, Lucas Moura is always the one that is always unlucky to miss out for Tottenham, and he sort of never gets upset about it. But maybe he should a bit more, because he always does well coming off the bench. Kane will start, obviously. Eric. I wish I could give you the team. No one knows. They've got more chance of getting the lottery numbers. There's always with the selection with Poch. What's going on here? You know. Ndombele hopefully should be fit because he's had a really good start. I want Eriksen to play. I'm sorry, if he's still a Tottenham Hotspur player, from a Tottenham fan's point of view, he has to play in this game. He's a snooker player, just pots the balls. He makes everything tick.
I'd be more worried as an Arsenal fan if Eriksen played personally.
I'm hearing that Ndombele he's not going to be ready
for Saturday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm hearing from people that I know at Spurs, like friends of mine, and they're saying that he doesn't look like he's going to be available. And I think that he gives that kind of presence, that power. But also at the same time, I do think that it's going to take him time to adapt to the Premier League. And I think that when you watch him over the first few games, like when I watched him against Aston Villa, I know that he scored the goal and that kind of, you know, papers over his overall performance, because you can say, look, he scored the equaliser.
He wasn't good.
But before that, he was dreadful. He had the touch of Yaya Sanogo. He was all over the place.
I gave him the big build-up. And funny you mentioned that, because I think he'll have to lose some weight. I think for that position that he plays, box to box, in the Premier League, he's got to trim down a little bit. I think he's carrying too much weight.
It's like you say as well about Pepe, be more ruthless. These guys are coming from the French league. This is a top league. You know, this the fitness levels as well. I'm not expecting them to be full pelt. We're us football fans. We're impatient.
Yeah,
we want it now. Yeah. We want it now. But I've seen enough to know there's a player there.
Yeah,
I know the clubs that are in for him. I know he's a good player. I'm prepared to wait. The problem is this is such a big game that you want him to be a full pelt.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, question to you: where do Arsenal win this game? Surely Torreira has to start. That was the weirdest thing for me. Not so much Lacazette being dropped, but it was. What's happening there?
Literally, that was the first person that I was going to talk about, because we talk about, you know, adapting to the Premier League and stuff like that. Torreira, for me, is fully adapted, and I saw enough even in his little 10-15 minutes against Liverpool to know what he brings. He brings that tenacity, he brings that fight, but he's also very, very quick when he wins the ball to pop it off. He knows he's not the most technically gifted, and he's not the one that's going to go and create things and be the big name in lights. He will just give it to those guys. Win the ball, give it. Win it, give it. And I feel that Emery's had this he's had this knack of doing it with a lot of players. he brings them in gradually when they've been away, international duty, through the summer, new signing, stuff like that. He likes to integrate them slowly, not just go, right, you're going straight in. Torreira had no pre-season. He played the last game against Barcelona of the pre-season and he played about 10 minutes. That wasn't enough to say, yeah, you can start in the Premier League. First game, the way the game panned out against Newcastle, never came off the bench. Then you got the Burnley game, came off the bench, done a little 10 minutes or so there. So I can see why he didn't start against Liverpool, because he'd only had about 20 minutes football. And with the kind of pace and intensity that Liverpool play at, he could have
got rinsed.
Yeah, and it would have done more damage than good. But a little 15 minutes or so was enough to probably go, yeah, you know what, that'd be enough. And
do you think he had Spurs the following week in mind?
Maybe. And also I'm noticing as well, I think what's always key leading up to these games is that you look who the players that are being interviewed are. And it's always a telltale sign as to kind of who might be involved.
That's true.
It's even when the European games, the manager always sits there in press conferences and brings a player with him. And you can kind of go, he's going to be... You kind of get that idea. Torreira's already been talking this week about the North London derby.
He's been put up for press.
And he's turned around and said that he was told about the intensity of this game and what it was like, the crowd, the whole hostility and everything. And he was not really... is it really as bad as they say? So when he played that first game at the Emirates, he was like, I've never experienced nothing like that in my life. And it was unreal. And for me, this is the biggest derby in the Premier League. For me, the hostility. We genuinely don't like each other. It's you know what? Michael's a rare breed because he's a Tottenham fan that actually speaks sense. And it's like that is like quite unusual, and it's kind of. But honestly, when you look at the history of the clubs, going right back to where Spurs feel that Arsenal bought their way back into the first division. And stop themselves being relegated way back in the day when our granddads were around and stuff. And then obviously, they still can't get over the fact that we used to play in Woolwich and that we overtook North London, yet they were actually a team from Middlesex until the 60s. So actually, we were technically the first team in North London. A little educational piece for you guys out there. You only have to go and look at the contract that Jimmy Greaves signed. And it actually says on the contract, Middlesex.
I believe DT.
So at the end of the day,
I've not heard that before, but I believe
and then obviously you get Spurs. They've got to hold on to the fact that they won certain trophies first. They were the first to win the double and stuff like that. And it's small prizes for small clubs and all that kind of thing. But we have big objectives, and for me, I'm in uncharted territory because for 20 odd years, I've always just been able to laugh at my mates being Spurs fans because we've always been above them. And now I'm going through that period of the last 3 years where we're below them and I'm not used to it and I don't like it. I know we're still the bigger club by a million miles. North London's still red. You need to go and win 13 league titles, 13 FA Cups, win the league on our ground, go take our captain and win the title at the Emirates and all these kind of things before you can say North London's right. But right now,
they're doing their thing.
They've been the better side, but they're just not the bigger side. But
before we get to predictions, just on a couple of the youngsters, Willock and Nelson.
Yeah.
Do they have a role in this game to play as well, or is this not really...
Joe Willock.
You'd start him?
I would, because I felt he wasn't going to start in the game against Liverpool. I felt that might have been a little bit too much too soon. But yet he was one of the players that stood out for me and stood up to be counted. And it looked like it didn't faze him in any way, shape or form. And the thing I will say is he's a Hairlem boy. He's from the academy. He will know what Arsenal-Tottenham means. He will know exactly, what it means to the fans. Even at under 23 level, under 18 level, if anyone watches those games when Arsenal and Spurs play each other, the intensity at those games is just like a normal Arsenal-Spurs game. You don't want to lose it at any level. Even the ladies' team last week, Arsenal beat Spurs 6-0.
6-0, that's right.
Yeah, in that game. But
we've only just turned pro.
but even in that game, you could feel the kind of tension. And there was over 3,000 people at that game.
Well, the North London derby is at the Tottenham Stadium.
That's right,
the growth of the game. And you look at Arsenal women, they're pioneers of it about 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah,
you know, so
massively.
the game is growing like beyond belief at the moment. But I want to talk about the North London derby, so what you said as well, because I agree. I think it's the best derby in the Premier League by a country mile. It probably gets watered down nationally because we have other London sides like Chelsea and West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea despise Tottenham. They sing Spurs like when I'm working.
What's all that about? I don't know.
It might be more. It might be a hooligan thing that emanated from the. It was the first London FA Cup final, but all through the game, I had a colleague.
Told you. See. First London FA. First.
It's always bugged Chelsea. West Ham. I would rather go to the Emirates with a Tottenham shirt on than West Ham. I've never known hate like it. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Wow. You know, and I don't know, like more of an Essex element, but again, West Ham's rivalry is Tottenham, Chelsea, Tottenham. For us, and I'm from Enfield, it's Arsenal. It's always been Arsenal. It will always be Arsenal. If Spurs lose to Chelsea or West Ham, it takes me a day or two to get over it. Arsenal, I've taken WhatsApp off, the lot. It takes me a long time. It hurts. But do you know what? It's funny. You know, I know it bugs Arsenal at the moment, Spurs being better, and we can all talk about trophies. Agreed. Because I said to my friends, if Spurs win the Champions League, it'd be like a computer game. Completed it. Because I know winning that European Cup would have meant so much. The trophy banter would have gone. Winning the elite competition would have gone. Yeah. I'd have been so much more calm. I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how calm I would have been. I've got so much going on in my life right now. I'd have been calm. Yeah. But now I've got it all back again. It's a brilliant derby. It's littered with goals. In the Invincibles era, Arsenal were a different level to Tottenham. A different level. But now there is this kind of equal, where I think Arsenal are improving slightly under Emery. There's problems at Tottenham, where it's a coin toss. Last few seasons, pick your combined 11s. It was 9 Spurs players, 2 Arsenal. I hated it. What's the point of combined 11s anyway? You're never going to do a combined team. No. Hated it. It's pointless. It's the best derby for me in England. Rangers and Celtic is on another level. There's other things that contribute to that. But I think Arsenal and Tottenham, you're never gonna. You get goals. You get. There's
very rarely a dull North London.
No, exactly. Yeah. But you know what? I've watched AFTV for years, right? And so many things. When Robbie does the headline, it says Tottenham, Tottenham, Tottenham. So I know Arsenal fans are buzzing for Tottenham games as well now. It's a local rivalry. It's a brilliant rivalry. I love it. Even on the Monday, you see it on the Arsenal Twitter. 5 days to go, 4 days to go, 3 days to go. Everyone game, gets it. Yeah. But do you know what bugs me sometimes? Well, I don't know. It bugs. When Arsenal beat Spurs 4-2, all the players tweeted North London is red, but the Spurs players didn't when they won. And I wonder whether it's because Poch's got it in their heads that they're thinking beyond just beating Arsenal. They want to finish second or first, want to win something. Is it because Arsenal players get it more, or is it because Tottenham players don't look at just the one game?
They look at the bigger picture.
Now, I know social media, sometimes agents write their tweets, etc., etc., but it really struck a chord with me that the Arsenal players, North London is red. But when Tottenham won, there wasn't one player tweet anything about the game. It was really weird.
That's interesting. Before we get to prediction, I just want to ask both of you guys, what is the sweeter feeling, beating your rival at home or away?
I don't really like that feeling very much.
Yeah, that's the wrong question to ask him.
League Cup.
We're clutching now. Nah. Okay, what would you rather do? Would you rather smash Arsenal in your backyard, or would you rather go to Arsenal and smash them?
Away. DT's going to go there on Sunday. Buzzing, can't wait. You're all going to be there, can't wait. We're going to win. We're going to beat Tottenham. They're doing crap. There's no confidence there. And if Spurs turned up on Sunday, Dele Alli comes up from injury and scores in the last, but something like that, Spurs would be buzzing off it.
Yeah.
Arsenal should have won at Wembley in February.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should have.
I mean, what a key goal that could have been.
Yeah.
What a key goal that could have been, looking at the table now. It's hindsight, I know. But, yeah, away for me, no doubt. Sure.
All day.
Same for you?
Yeah, all day long. I can't wait to go back to Shite Hart Lane this season.
What do you put it out on your stadium?
The toilet. That's what they call it, shaped like a toilet. I can't
It's a nice stadium.
It is.
It is nice.
It's not nice. It's a soulless bowl.
Here he comes.
And their trophy cabinet is the size of this room we're in. It's tiny.
We won the Audi Cup.
Yeah, the Audi Cup.
Give it some respect.
That was shocking. The celebrations, to be honest.
They were joking. You saw so Joko laughing his head off.
No, them mans were actually doing the hey!
They were joking.
And then you go back to a few years when we won the Audi Cup, we were like that, right?
Whatever, let's move
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Give one of the fans the trophy. Let them take it.
But winning the Audi Cup, it gets you a Europa League spot.
Let's move on. Right, let's get predictions. Let me start with you, Michael.
Yeah.
Give me a prediction. How's it going to end on Sunday afternoon?
Do you know what? I'm really not, because of the things we're seeing and the underlying potential issues behind the scenes, which we don't know, but it is clearly coming onto the field, because goodness knows how we got a point at Man City, but the Villa performance was poor, but they still won. Newcastle was dreadful. Look, I hope I'm wrong, of course, but I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1.
DT?
I've got to be very careful what I say, because there's a couple of pages on social media now which take your comments out of context and you end up getting absolutely hammered.
Rinsed.
And me and Troops have been absolutely destroyed recently. Shout out to Troops as well for coming out with your mixed gender and everything. But I do go into the game confident. I go into every game confident, to be honest, because your heart tells you one thing and your head tells you another. But I'm going for a 4-1 win.
Paul Mercer meant 4-1 as well.
Yeah, well,
That's good.
he normally gets them wrong, doesn't he? But I just feel
You think that's smash job?
Yeah, because do you know what? I look at, like I said, recent history. We always score a lot of goals against Spurs. We went into the game last year at the Emirates, underdogs. Weren't playing that great, and we smashed 4 in that game. I feel that if we play with the right intensity, with the right mentality, and we literally go for Spurs and go for their weak spots within the first few opening 15, 20 minutes or so, I feel that it could be a very long afternoon for them. We need to apply the pressure early.
And a quick note just on the fans. What role do the fans have to play in this?
Huge.
Look, this is AFTV.
Huge, man. Huge.
I mean, look, joking aside, as we all do, like the atmosphere at your ground, and even in our one the other day was a bit, come on, need a bit more here. But there's no doubt when this game comes about, know you're in a game. You know it. And you know the intent. I think Gary Neville was really taken aback by it last season, because he went, wow, like all the trouble that started. But everyone is up for it. If you're not up for it, don't go. Sell your ticket.
Yeah.
Because there are thousands and thousands and thousands who would do anything to be there, singing from the first to the last minute. If not one Tottenham player doesn't know that they're in for a game Sunday, please don't play. But they will. They will. They know by now. Pochettino knows by now.
And the Arsenal fans, what role do they have to play in this fixture?
This is that one fixture of the season where the Emirates literally is rocking. And I love this fixture. It's from the first minute to the 90th minute. Your nerves are all over the place, but you're singing, and everyone around you, you might not know people around you, but all of a sudden they become your best friend.
How much more do you love it more than when you play Chelsea at home, for example?
There's no feeling like playing Spurs at the Emirates in terms of the atmosphere. The only other game, surprisingly, that I feel that there's a kind of atmosphere that gets close to it is Man United. Because I suppose recent rivalries and because of the whole history between Arsenal and Man United, there kind of gets that intense feeling about it. But there's just a genuine, fierce, intense feeling when you're in the crowds at the Emirates for the game against Spurs. I genuinely feel the hatred that Arsenal fans have for Spurs fans and their players during that game. And don't get me wrong, there's Tottenham fans as well. They'll tell you the same thing. They genuinely hate us, and it's the feeling's mutual. But you can genuinely feel the venom in people when they're shouting at certain players. There was the incident last year when Dele Alli and all that were over on the sidelines in the first half, and it kicked off, and I saw drinks getting flown and people trying to jump over. And I'm not advocating that we jump on the pitch and assault players and stuff like that. But you just feel that intensity. And I personally feel that a lot of these players, they don't mind that, because it kind of gives you a little... If I was a player, I would be like...
I liked it.
I want it.
I liked it.
I want a piece of this. And it kicked off in the second half down the other end as well. And in hindsight, we all realise now that they're pretty lucky that Kolasinac was held back.
But even at Wembley in February, Socrates made just a normal tackle, but the crowd in you went, and he went like that. I went, that's interesting. Yeah. He's not been here that long. Yeah. It reminded me.
He gets it. Yeah.
It was like Adams in 91 or 92. That struck a chord with me, and that's why you played well that day as well. But yeah, look, it's the best derby. Any London derby pales into insignificance.
So we've got both our fans here predicting there's going to be an Arsenal victory on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the fan cams because someone's going to be in tears. I've been hosted by Robbie. I'm looking forward to those videos. Let us know in the comments below your predictions, your starting 11s, who you think goes to the game as favourites. I think we'll all agree that will probably be Arsenal. Any other comments you want to put in the comments below, just do that. This has been the All Guns Blazing podcast. I've been Jordan, Jarrett, Brian. Robbie's back next week as far as I'm aware. Until then, peace.